Hi there, it's John Cummins again from Executive Medicine. And this one is going to be on the memory, cognitive function and your diet intake. And there's really quite, I don't think a lot of people understand the large body of evidence that's accumulating, stating that basically in terms of preserving your mental resilience, your learning ability and your mental sharpness, how influential diet is. So foods to avoid would be simple sugars. So for example, pastries, chocolates, lollies, things like that, which most of us don't have on a regular basis. But also high glycemic index foods. So these are carbohydrates, typically the white bread, the white rice, the starchy potatoes, the white pasta, where when you eat these foods, they are processed really quickly by the gut, and you'll get sugar spikes followed by insulin spikes, and then a whole hormonal cascade. And not only do they, in excess, may be predisposed to diabetes, but there also seem to be some studies whereby they're linked with decreased mental acuity and possibly risk of depression further down the track. Thirdly, there'd be fried foods. So there are a couple of studies, one done with 18,000 people, showing decreased learning if people had a high fried food diet, and other ones showing decreased mental resilience. And I guess one thing to point out at this stage of the discussion is that linkages between what one eats or drinks or whatever and outcomes aren't necessarily cause and effect. So for example, people that eat more fried foods may be more prone to smoking or having less exercise. So it's important to factor in these recommendations with whatever else you're doing in life. The fourth one would be alcohol. So we know, for example, that alcohol is a direct neurotoxin. It really is a poison in excessive amounts. And certainly when there were 23,000 people studied over several decades, in one study, the men that either didn't drink at all or had more than 14 standard drinks, which would be 2 bottles of wine equivalent or about 10 twist top beer equivalents, or drank more than 4 standard drinks in one session, were all called heavy drinkers. So, I say to my male clients, to try and keep the alcohol down to under 10 drinks a week, but certainly less than 14. And for women, it wasn't 14, it was 10 drinks, or more than 3 drinks in one session a month. They were called, labelled as heavy drinkers. They had a much higher risk of brain disease down the track. Now, the other thing is don't forget how important sleep is. So one of the things that happens during sleep, and this is why we really want to get 8 to 9 hours sleep a night, is at the back ends of sleep. So the 7th hour, the 8th hour is when you get most of the REM sleep. And this is also when you get regeneration of brain tissue, and it's thought that the amyloid protein, which basically is responsible for dementia, is washed out during sleep, but particularly during prolonged sleep. And alcohol smashes sleep. Our sympathetic nervous system is triggered with alcohol with more than 4 standard drinks. Your heart rate's up all night, your brainwave activity changes, you get alpha intrusions. So this may be one of the mechanisms where our brain is just not regenerating, getting rid of the amyloid plaque and restoring itself. And then the final one is that there's some suggestion that nitrates in food, which are preservatives, may be bad for the brain as well. So things, for example, in salami, other cured meats would be great examples of this. And if you think about these 5 groups, the sugars, the high glycemic index carbohydrates, the alcohol, the fried foods and the nitrates, these are possibly very pro-inflammatory foods, and we tend to find that what's good for the heart is good for the brain. And so when you eat a Mediterranean diet full of plants and vegetables, the carbohydrates, so the brown rices, the sweet potatoes, the wholemeal pastas, the healthy oils, fish oil, nuts, seeds, etc. This diet tends to act as an anti-inflammatory diet, and probably reduces inflammation in the vessels of the brain, which then preserves brain health as well. So look, hopefully that's helpful. We'll bring you more stuff down the track on nutrition and food. There's really quite a compelling argument that certain food groups can worsen mental health conditions, but also possibly linked to neurodegenerative conditions as well within the brain. So I hope you find that interesting and look forward to seeing you soon.